So you've started a new hardcore world. You've gathered up some resources, tools, and food. Things are looking good in your latest attempt at hardcore Minecraft. You gather up some courage and start delving deeper into the world, until a sneaky little creeper, or perhaps a baby zombie, comes along and makes you question why it is you continue to play this game mode. We've all been there, and even with the best armor and best enchantments, mistakes do happen. Today we are going to be taking a look at some tips and tricks that I have picked up that may help you progress through the game, defeat the Ender Dragon, and begin looking towards those end game mega builds that will make your friends and family jealous of your amazing Minecraft skills. Or just to have fun creating in this amazing game. My name's Anthony YTG and I mostly play hardcore Minecraft. In my current world, I have hit 5,000 days and have had the world for over 2 years now. We've had a lot of close calls and made many mistakes, but each time I try to learn from them. This video will showcase some tips and tricks that I have learned either from playing within my world, watching other fantastic content creators, or some of them have even been suggested by you, the community, from my last tips and tricks video. So strap in, get your notepads ready, because we are going from the start to the dragon, and there is a lot to get through. After clicking that new game button and setting your world to hardcore, you'll load into your spawn chunks. These are somewhat important, and I usually take the coordinates of these straight away. Not only will you be able to create a mega iron golem farm here later in the playthrough, but if your bed is broken and you jump back into the portal from the end to the overworld, your character is going to spawn back at these coordinates. So keep this in mind, and if you feel you need to, create a little safe box here. This will mean you won't get caught off guard once bagging that first dragon kill. The focus now in your world should be tools, food, and a bed. Tools are pretty standard in any playthrough, but food and a bed are an extremely important part in hardcore. Obviously your hunger going down is bad, but every heart counts in hardcore. And the quicker you can regen from fall damage or mob damage, the better off you will be. Beds are a nice quick way to ensure that the danger of the night in the early game can be skipped, while also offering your character some comfort in an all too dangerous world. My tip here is to try and find a village. Villages always have easily accessible beds, but also generally contain hay bales, which you can craft down into wheat and then make into bread. It's a good first food source. Another benefit of this is you find villagers to trade with, but that won't become important for just a little bit. So now you've found your village and you're feeling a little safer, but the lack of good weapons and armor are making you feel like you need to go caving for upgrades. Don't. Alright, hear me out. Caving is extremely dangerous in the early game and should be avoided at all costs. There are much better and safer ways of getting resources than this. My first thing I always try to go for is a shield. Shields are handy when fighting normal mobs, but can also block the incoming blast from a creeper. When you have low armor, this can be the difference between a continued save and a lost one. Places to find iron could be through a strip mine at Y level 16, surface caves that aren't too dark and somewhat open, or from your friendly neighborhood watchman. If you build up 3 blocks and stand at the top, killing a golem can be somewhat safe. Make sure there is no blocks around your pillar the golem can reach you from, and then hit him with your sword or your axe, whichever you prefer. Using this iron and some wood, you can craft a shield and start making your way towards those sweet, sweet diamonds. Now, there are many ways of getting your first lot of diamonds, and people generally have a pretty clear way that they prefer to do it. But today we'll be looking at 4 different ways of getting diamonds or diamond armor and tools. Some are safe and slow, and others are a little bit more quicker and slightly more risky. I'm sure most people who have played Minecraft have done their fair share of strip mining. It's slow and requires multiple pickaxes early game, but it is a safe option as long as you are covering your holes in your mine and lighting up all the hallways. Dig down to bedrock and start creating strip mines with 2 blocks in between. Eventually you'll gather up a good amount of diamond whilst also getting some resources for builds and farms. Make sure to take your time if you need to cover any holes or caves, and keep checking your surroundings. Even if you are doing these things, it's always good to be aware of what's around you. Using stone tools and using this method, I was able to get just 2 diamonds within the hour, but I was also able to focus on watching Netflix while mining, so definitely a safer method. Shipwrecks are a little bit more dangerous than strip mining, but can have a large amount of precious resources through the treasure maps found in them. And grab yourself a boat, your bed, never leave home without this actually, and some doors, they may be important later, and start sailing the 7 seas in search of treasure. Inside the shipwreck there will be some chests. Within one of these chests will be a map. Occasionally the ship will spawn in a way that it will not have a chest with a map in it, so just sail to the next one and hope that one does. Make sure to keep an eye on your air. There are doors within the ship that you can jump into to regain air, or place down one of the ones that you brought yourself. Doors create an air pocket that is extremely handy for underwater expeditions. Following the map is easy. Look for the small white circle on the map. This is your position. You need to move that circle using the north, south, east and west directions to get to the X. If your circle is in the top left corner of the map, you need to start moving southeast until you see a small teardrop-like icon. Once you find the treasure, align yourself with the X and open up the F3 menu. You will want to match these two numbers with 9 and then dig straight down. Voila, the treasure is yours. With this method, I was able to get a bunch of diamonds super quickly, along with iron, gold, lapis, and other amazing resources. Underwater cave diving is a little bit more of a trickier one. You either need to know how to use the doors really well, or combine this with the water-breathing potions from the treasure that you just got for it to be a safe option. But there is a chance to find diamonds swimming within the caves, and this can be a fun, adventurous option. I personally don't recommend it, as I don't believe it's too safe, but with the right precautions, it's better than having creepers drop from the ceiling and leave you looking at the death screen. Finally, villagers do trade diamond gear, but it is a grind to get them there. A good tactic is to build up some fletchers and deforest the entire local islands, turning the wood into sticks and trading them for emeralds. For this, you would need a couple of fletchers, a toolsmith, weaponsmith, and some armor smiths. This is a very safe method, but very time consuming. Although those who are good at redstone might be able to whip up a quick iron farm and sell the iron to these traders for emeralds, which would hasten the process. Now we've got our diamond armor, we've got our diamond tools, it's time to go to the Nether. The Nether is the first real test in any hardcore playthrough, in my opinion. The mobs are tough and the realm is coated in quick travelling lava that is just waiting to jump out and kill you. But there are precautions that you can take. Firstly, gold armor. Golden armor worn in the Nether will protect you from angry piglins who are trying to attack you. Just remember to not open a chest or mine gold around them. They don't care about your fashion sense once you have broken this unspoken rule. Next, you can also trade gold with these guys by throwing ingots near them. Not only can this net you some amazing ender pearls for later in the game, but you can also nab some fire res potions to use in the fortress against the blazes. If you did find gold on your journeys in the overworld, I would highly suggest trading as much as you can to at least get a fire res potion. This is a random trade and won't always get you the items you want. Remember to take a screenshot of your portal coords as well. There is nothing worse than being lost in the Nether. Although, being lost in the end is pretty bad too. Just take your coords. Now, assuming you haven't spawned in the worst biome in the Nether, I'm looking at you, Basalt Delta, you're going to want to search for a Nether fortress. Nether fortresses tend to spawn in clusters along the Z-axis, north to south, so you have a better chance of finding one walking along the X-axis, so east to west. Choose the safest path and begin travelling. I personally like to dig tunnels that later form my Nether highways, but this can be time consuming and degrade your tools quickly, so if you feel you can move through the Nether safely, do so. Otherwise, start digging. Nether fortresses are cruel, unforgiving structures, so once you see the advancement pop up, put on your concentrating hat and get ready for some stress. The first issue we have here are the wither skeletons. For wither skeletons, place blocks through the tunnel that create a too high pass, just like this. The wither skellies are 3 blocks high and will not be able to walk under there. If there are no areas you can create this, kite the skelly back to an area that you have already built this in. Take your time and move slowly through the tunnels. Trying to sprint through these areas can cause you to run into something unexpected, or accidentally fall off the edge and into the potential lava lake below, or even just take fall damage. The blazes can be easy if you got yourself some fire res, but do be careful as their melee damage is still rather high. If you weren't able to get yourself some fire res, use this method I am using here to safely farm the blazes for their rods. We need them for brewing and Eyes of Ender later. To see how this farm's made properly, check the link in the description. It's a fantastic early game farm. It doesn't net a massive amount of rods, but it is much safer than just standing in the open and hitting them. Now, the only other ingredient we need from the fortress is the nether wart. So carefully progress through the halls using the block method to avoid wither skellies until you locate nether wart. This will usually be next to sets of stairs in the tunnels. Take the wart and the soul sand and we can make our way back to the overworld. We now have most of the key ingredients needed to make our journey to the end, but we still aren't fully prepared for it. These next tips are only the basics of what you could do in preparation for the dragon fight, and I'll mention the extra lengths you can go to better your odds of victory. The next main stage of our journey requires the villagers we spoke about before. We're going to need a cleric for ender pearls and a villager with an easy trade for emeralds. I personally suggest the Fletcher, but as I said before, if you can make a farm, the toolsmiths or farmers for auto pumpkin and melon farms are also amazing. This just depends on the time you would like to put in. I like using the Fletchers as getting the bow and a bunch of arrows is kind of an essential to the dragon fight, so you're going to need to do this anyway. Continue to trade with your villagers, getting all the emeralds you can. Level up the cleric until they offer ender pearls and buy as many as you would like. I like to take a stack and a half of Eyes of Ender to the stronghold. Eyes of Ender can be crafted by using the ender pearls and blaze powder. Whilst trading for the pearls, also try to gather a bow and some arrows for the fight, as I just said. I took 2 and a bit stacks, and with my terrible aim, I still almost ran out. So take as many as you can. During this time, I also used a zombie villager to cheapen the trades with both the cleric and the Fletcher to get more bang for my buck. On the right of the screen, I have added a link to a video showing you how to get zombie trades. The last thing we need from this area is the phantom membranes for our slow falling potions. All you have to do is stay awake for a few nights until you hear this crazy noise, and then boop them a couple of times with your sword until they drop one of these. Now place some water bottles in a brewing stand. Brewing stand's crafted using the blaze rods, and add 1 of the nether warts. Next, add the phantom membrane and then redstone, and you'll get some great pots of slow falling with decent duration. This next part is optional for your playthrough, but I created an enchantment table and carried it with me to the stronghold. Most strongholds spawn with libraries, and it is much quicker to gather the books needed for bookshelves at the libraries. So if you go this way, take some wood with you as well as the enchanting table. For enchantments, you can spend ample amount of time getting all Prot 4 gear and the best enchantments on your weapon. I highly recommend this if you haven't beaten the dragon in hardcore yet. Prot 4 and Feather Falling is a minimum on your armor, Infinity on your bow, unless you're a mending person, and Sharpness 5 on your sword is a good start. Due to time restraints on this video, I went in with minimal enchantments, but as you'll see, even just a little bit of protection helps in the dragon fight. Before we leave, 2 other optional items can be used during the fight, and they are a bucket of water and a sheared pumpkin. If you time it correctly, a bucket of water can stop you from taking fall damage. It is hard to do, but it is handy to have as a last resort. Just don't rely on it unless you know how to do it. And the sheared pumpkin, when worn as a helmet, can stop Enderman from aggroing on you. It does make it a little bit easier, but it also makes it a little hard to see. Now that you have mostly everything you need for the dragon fight, it's time to throw that first Eye of Ender and start searching for the stronghold. To find the stronghold, you need to throw the Eye of Ender and walk in the direction that it flies. I suggest throwing the eye and then walking a couple of 100 blocks before throwing it again. Correct your alignment if needed and wait for it to start changing directions before making any big movements. You will know you're in the right place when the eye no longer floats above you but disappears into the ground. Start digging safely down until you get to stone brick or cracked stone brick. You are now in the stronghold. This was my first time doing this in 1.18, and with the new lighting updates, I've seen less mobs than ever in the stronghold, but it still pays off to bring torches and light your surroundings up. Better to be safe than sorry. Make your way through the stronghold until you find this room. Quickly destroy the silverfish spawner. We really don't need it. No one's going to make a farm from silverfish. And then place the remaining Eyes of Ender in the portal frame. This is where you'll need to do your last minute prep and make sure you have everything. If you're playing it safe and taking your time, creating a nether portal here and then linking a path through the nether is a great idea. Once everything is prepped, take a deep breath and jump into the portal. The Ender Dragon awaits. When entering the end, you spawn on an obsidian platform. This can either be boxed in endstone or surrounded by the void. Take your time to get to the top of the end island and get ready to put that concentration hat back on. It's fight time. The first thing I suggest is to build a small 2-high platform like this. Like Wither skeletons, Endermen cannot fit under 2 blocks, and this creates a safe place for you to retreat to if you happen to glance at one of these angry men. Next, you are going to want to start taking down the end crystals that sit on top of the obsidian portals. Pillaring up to the portals can be done, but it is far more dangerous than taking your time shooting them with the arrows. For the end crystals in iron bar boxes, position yourself below them and aim for the small hole in the corner. The arrow will arc and hit the crystal eventually with some small alignment. These crystals are important to remove as these heal the dragon, so definitely focus on these. Listen for these sound cues on when the dragon is firing its dragon breath. You can easily avoid these by just continuing to move. Also, keep note of where the dragon is and try to have your hotbar sorted out so slow falling potions are easily accessible. Once the crystals are dealt with, start hitting the dragon with your arrows until she perches on the bedrock pillar in the middle of the island. Now I like to hit her tail as I personally see more room to maneuver than when you are under her head. If you would like to, you can take one of the slow falling potions before starting the melee segment, as there is a large chance she may hit you soaring into the air during this phase of the fight. So continue hitting and shooting until you see this spectacular fireworks show and all that sweet, sweet experience falling to the ground. Pick up that experience and grab that dragon egg, and with seeing this scene, you have done it. You have beaten the Ender Dragon in hardcore Minecraft and completed the first phase of moving towards a long-term world. All that is left to do is to travel to the outer End Islands, collect a set of wings, and grab some shulker boxes while you're there. Head back to the overworld and start building that fantastic world and be proud of every moment you spend in it. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that there was at least a few things scattered throughout that can help you on your hardcore journey. Remember to play it safe, calculate risk over reward, and have fun. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.